A good Erev Shabbos, everyone, and a good Erev Shabbos Chol Hamoed Pesach as we record this special segment for the Shabbos table, sponsored by the Rubin family, with the request that Hashem should bless them with a healthy Ben Zachar, and of course, Hatzlach and Ruchnius and Gashmius. We thank the Rubin family for consistently granting us this grant to carry this year. They would be thrilled to know that just on TorahAnytime.com, some of these shiurim have over 700 views. So they are really, really helping to be Ma'avetz Torah all over the globe. And of course, there's much more than that on YouTube and Kol Haloshen and Facebook and all the other places that carry this share. Today, it's hard to believe that the Siddharim are already in our rear view mirror. And of course, it's important to not leave the Seder just with extra pounds, or maybe with some Afikomen toys. But as the Per Aaron Hashem Yimkim Damai Zech Tzavakosh Rachos Chusiyogin Aleinu says, the Rosh Tevis of Chasal Siddur Pesach is Ches Samach Pei, which is Pesach. So it is the acronym of Chasal Siddur Pesach is Pesach, to tell us that as we finish it, we should take it with us. So today, I want to talk to you about one part of the Seder, a part of the Seder that always mystified me. You know, we have all kinds of songs. And the songs, they carry with it memories. You remember a favorite Koribon Olam that you sang in your Zaydi's house. You remember a delicious Barkel Elyon that you learned in camp. And you remember sitting maybe by a tish, by Shalashudis, and you remember a Hartziga Mizmor LeDavid. And they, as the years go by, they carry with it memories. And of course, the deep meaning of the Zmiris themselves, Yom Zeh Mechubed Mikol Yomim, it's the most honorable of all days, right? Ki Voy Shavas, Yom Zeh Mechubed Mikol Yomim Ki Voy Shavas, right? The Rebbeinu Shalom, Yom Zeh Mechubed Mikol Yomim, Ki Voy Shavas Surai Lamim, and the Rebbeinu Shalom rested. Or Koribon Olam v'Olmaya, with Ka, Hashem created this world and all the worlds, like the Gemara says in Menachos. But there's so many different nigunim, Svardik, Ashkenazic, Hasidic, Hungarian. I mean, there's so many flavors. There are Yikara, Leveinu, Levas, Yinsarchem, all kinds of flavors, and Baruch Elyon, you know, they go in so many different directions. Yet there's one song that almost universally everybody sings to the same tune, and that's the song of Dayenu. Wherever you go, Hasidic, Litvish, modern, Dayenu. You're in a cavernous dining room in a big hotel, and everybody is singing it the same way. Dayenu. It's a very universal song. And yet it's a mystifying song. So first of all, there are 15 stanzas in this song, and it parallels the 15 parts of the table of contents, Kadesh Urchatz Karpas Yachatz. The reason why there's 15, so first of all, we know that it corresponds to the 15 Shir Malices in Tillim, which correspond to the 15 steps in the temple complex from the Ezras Noshim to the Ezras Yisrael. And that's based on, because they say, Anu Leka, Ve'inenu Leka, we are to Ka, and our eyes are to Ka. Ka, of course, is 15. The Rekeach, one of the Rishonim, says that the 15 Mailos, the 15 Dayanus, represent the stages to go from earth to the top of the Aravas, which is the highest of the 7 Rakiyas. And that's what we accomplish with these 15 steps, right? It's from the Aretz and the 7 Rakiyas and the spaces between the 7 skies. So that's a total of 15. The Gain says that it represents, since Dayenu culminates with Uvanu Lanu Beis HaBechira, building the Beis HaMikdash, so it represents the 15 generations from Avram to Shlomo HaMelech, who built the Beis HaMikdash. The Maral says that it represents the 15 stages until the completion of the moon, from when the moon is not visible until the moon is complete on the 15th of the month, representing completion. There's a fascinating chidah. The chidah says that it represents the schus of Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov learned together, our 3 great avos, learned together for 15 years. That's a fascinating chidah. And when it says that we were saved from Mitzrayim, b'schus the shloisha avos, so it represents the 15 years that Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov learned together. Now that, you have to understand that it's a medrash, but it could only be with a fantastic thing, that Yaakov already learned with them when he was 1 day old. Talk about a young student. Because we have to know, it's simple arithmetic. Avram was 100 when he had Yitzchak. Yitzchak was 60 when he had the twins, Yaakov and Esau. And Avram died at 175. So for Avram to learn with Yaakov, together with Yitzchak, 15 years, he had to learn with Yaakov on the first day he was born for 15 years. And now that gives you a whole new insight into what it says, Vayitzroitzitzu habonim b'kirba, that whenever Yaakov passed the Beis Medrash, he was running to get out. He was running to get out because he had a Seder to keep. He was supposed to learn 15 years together with his Tata and his Zayda. It's Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Of course, there is a simple reason why there's 15 in the table of contents and there's 15 in Dayenu, because we're celebrating Pesach on the 15th of the Nisan. So that's the, Tesvav B'Nisan, that's the 15th theme as well. However, when I said that this is a mystifying song, I was referring to something which perhaps it bothered you through the years as much as it bothered me. And that is, everybody is singing with just such gusto and such a definitiveness. Dayenu, which means it's enough. Dayenu, Dayenu, and then we go with emphasis. Oy, Dayenu, Dayenu, it's enough. Now, think about what we say. What we saying? If you didn't give us the Shabbos, it would be enough. And we sing with emphasis, I mean, think about it. How many times have we said, where would we be without the Shabbos? Oh yeah, I wouldn't be able to survive without the Shabbos. More than we guard the Shabbos guards us. And here at the Seder, we're singing with our children, die. What's going on over here? It's enough without the Shabbos. Or even more than that. V'loy nasan lanu es ha-Torah dayenu, dayenu. It would be enough without the Torah? What are you talking about? Remember Rabbi Kiva said to Papas, when Papas asked him, how could you learn Torah? The Romans, they said whoever teaches Torah will be put to death. It was suicidal. And Rabbi Kiva told him that a yid without Torah is like a fish out of the water. A fish without the water it chokes right away. We can't live without Torah. Ki heim chayenu. Ki chayim heim l'moitzeyem. Eitz chayim hilo achazigim ba. And yet we say, and everybody around the table is all of a sudden waking up. They might have been a little sleepy, but die, I know, die, I know, die, I know. What's going on? What's this all about? So this kasha has troubled a lot of people. And it's interesting, I saw this answer first many years ago in a very nice English Haggadah put out by Jep. And they said that, well, really it should be read bitmiya. Dayenu? Would it be enough? Right? Ilu kirvano lefnei ha'ashsinai v'lo nasan lanu es ha-Torah. Dayenu? Would it be enough? And actually, I found this. The Mesifta Haggadah brings it down, B'Shem Rabbi Elazar Ashkenazi. However, the Maisa is, it definitely doesn't fit in the song, which is universally sang. We don't sing, Dayenu, 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 Dayenu. We don't sing it that way. So, the Maisa is that Medrash Haggadah and the great Siach Yitzchak, they learn that the statement Dayenu means that even if it would have been for one of the things, it would have been enough to spend a whole night thanking Hashem. And that's Pshat. If just that he took us out of Egypt. He saved us from sinking to the 50th degree of Tumah. Dayenu. Just that alone would be deserving of a whole night of thanking Hashem. You have to know that the Rambam learns that the entire exercise of saying the Haggadah is to thank Hashem. And that's how he explains. It says, Afilu kulanu chachamim, even if we're all wise, kulanu nevainim, we're all understanding, kulanu yodim es ha-Torah, we all know the Torah, mitzvah aleinu l'saper b'yetzias Mitzrayim. And actually that's a little bit of a pella. What do you mean? If we all know, and not only that, we're all old, so there isn't even the young to teach. So why should we talk about it? This we know. Let's talk about something that we don't know. There's plenty of fields of knowledge that we don't know. So there's many answers to this. But the Rambam learns it's simple. Because it's not an intellectual exercise. It's an exercise of thanks. And therefore, even if you know it, that doesn't mean you don't have to say thank you. And that's why Kol Amar B'Lesaper B'Yetzias Mitzrayim Harizeh Meshubach. The more you thank Hashem, the better. And therefore, as the Medrash Haggadah, the Siach Yitzchak learns, Dayenu means if it would only be for one of these things, it would be enough to thank Hashem the whole night. That's the way he learns. The Heilige Rashba, one of our main Rishonim, I already made a bracha, Rabbi Isai. The Heilige Rashba has a different shot. The Rashba says that, we did very great things before we left Mitzrayim. V'erilach bispeiseses b'damayich, v'amalach b'damayich hayi, b'damayich hayi. I saw you wallowing in blood. And I said, through your blood, that's the dam of shechting the korban Pesach. And the dam milah, through that you will live. It's a very big thing. Says the Rashba, if Hashem did any one of the things of the 15 milas of Dayenu, that would be enough for Hashem to pay us back for what we did. Taking us out of Mitzrayim would be enough. Crossing the sea would be enough. Giving us the Shabbos would be enough. That's how magnificent any one of these 15 gifts would be. The world was zeicha this year to see a beautiful Haggadah put out from Rav Ruvain Feinstein, the Yeshiva of Staten Island, one of my Rebbeim. Rav Ruvain Feinstein learns, and actually he was mechaven to what the Ari Cheskel brings down from the Alta from Kelm, that what does it mean, Dayenu? Actually, the Imrei Shefer also says this pshat. What does it mean, Dayenu? It means that any one of these 15 would be enough for us to recognize Hashem. To recognize Hashgacha Pratis. Just seeing that Hashem took us out of Egypt with the 10 plagues, with all the miracles, Dayenu would be enough to recognize Hashem. Giving us the gift of Menucha, of Shabbos, it would be enough to recognize Hashem. Giving us the Torah, it would be enough to recognize Hashem. Crossing the Red Sea, it would be enough to recognize Hashem. Giving us the man 40 years, it would be enough to recognize Hashem. That's the pshat, beautiful pshat in Dayenu. So these are all mahalchim. These are all ways to answer this question. However, this question has bothered me throughout the decades, and I want to give you Lanias Daite, another humble explanation in the message of Dayenu that we sing with our families with such gusto. There are a lot of people that walk around unhappy. If you ever walk in the street and look at faces, you'll see people walking downcast, sullen, melancholy, bitter. It's no surprise. The Bahag, in his Minyan HaMitzvahs, counts being happy as one of the 613 mitzvahs. He says, Samachta b'chol ha'tov, asher nasan l'cha Hashem elikecha l'beisecha. You should rejoice with all the good that Hashem gave to you and your house. And since it's one of the 613 mitzvahs, there's two chidushim in that. Number one, it means that everybody could attain it, because Hashem doesn't give anybody a mitzvah that they can't do. Ein HaKadosh Baruch Hu ba b'trunyim b'riyasa. But there's something else, and that is that since it's a mitzvah, the Yetzer Hara tries to frustrate us, because that's what the Yetzer Hara's job is, to try to stop us from doing mitzvahs. That's why there's so many unhappy people. And one of the reasons why people are unhappy, one of the chief reasons, is because everybody wants more. Mishi yesh leimana writes a Masayim. Somebody has 100, wants 200. It just gets worse. Because ein adam meis v'chatzi tavos b'yada. A person doesn't die having fulfilled half his desires. So it keeps on getting worse, because if you have 100, you want 200, but if you have 10 million, you want 20 million. So you keep on getting further and further away from fulfillment of your goals. So there are a lot of people that are not satisfied. In the Haftarah that the Rav reads, it's a tradition to give two mafters, at least two mafters to the Rav, the Shabbos Shuvah mafter, Shabbos HaGadol mafter. So the Shabbos HaGadol mafter that the Rav reads, it says that if you bring the Meiser, then v'harikoisi lochem bracha ad belidai. I will empty out on you, I will shower on you blessing ad belidai. Now, Literally, that's mystifying. What do you mean? Abali dai means until there isn't enough. That's not a blessing. So the Gemara says ad bali dai means ad sheyivlu sifsei seichem meleimer dai. Until your lips weary from saying enough. Now, I bank in Chase, J.P. Morgan Chase. And I've been in the bank a lot, especially when I have to deposit Matan Savyayin money and Kimcha Pesach money and appeal money. But I also, for myself, Baruch Hashem, bank for myself. And I never saw by the teller who was handing out money, I never saw somebody saying, enough, enough, enough. Nobody ever has enough money. What's this blessing of Achi Yivlu Sipsei Seicha Meloi Merdai? And the answer is the blessing of satisfaction. It's a great blessing. Sab'enu mituvecha, we ask Hashem in our davening. Satisfy us with your goodness. Doesn't say shower us with your goodness. Satisfy us. That we should feel satisfied. We shouldn't be emphasizing what we're missing, but what we have. Here's a person, he's in a house. Oh, but his friends, they have a lot of bedrooms. They can have guests. They have a deck with a barbecue. And the one that has the deck with a barbecue, but his friend, he has a room with a ping pong table and a pool table. And if he has that, but his friend has a pool or a tennis court. And if he has that, yeah, but his friend has a place in Boynton Beach in Florida. If he has that, yeah, but he has a beautiful home in the Catskills. If he has that, yeah, but his friend has a nice apartment in the old city, Yerushalayim. He has one car, but his friend has two cars. He has two cars, but his friend has comfortable cars. He has comfortable cars, but his friend lives near the marina, has a boat, how relaxing. There are people that they're just never satisfied. Ezo Asher, who's rich, hasameach bechelka, somebody who's happy with what they have. Now, that means that happiness is not assets, but it's an attitude. That's why there's a beautiful thing that the word besimcha, with happiness, is the same letters. It's not even gematria, it's the same letters. Just have to jumble them around. Besimcha is the same letters as machshava, because it's an attitude to be happy. Reb Noach Weinberg put it very succinctly. If you're not happy with what you have, you'll never be happy with what you're going to get, because you'll get used to that too. So it's an attitude, it's the attitude, Yaakov versus Esav. Esav said, Yesh li rov, I have a lot, but I could have more. Yaakov says, Yesh li kol, I got everything. Actually, we make that bracha every morning. Bracha ta Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam she'asa li kol tzarki. Hashem makes for me everything that I need. I have what I need to be happy. But a person has to learn to enjoy what they have instead of to emphasize what they are missing. It's an attitude. You know, there's a famous story of Miller that one of his grandchildren took a cup that was half full. And, you know, knowing the answer, she said, Zaidi, is the cup half full or half empty? So he says, what do you mean? It's full. So she looked at it quizzically and she said, it's only half full. So he said, what do you mean? Half of it has delicious water, and half of it has delicious air. Where would we be without that air? We would be choking. A person that's hard works well, and the lungs work well, and the excretory system works well, and the kidneys work well, and the digestion works well, and the brain works well, and the heart works well. Oh boy! You know, they say, Ezo Usher. Usher is Einayim, Shinayim, Yodayim, Raglayim. Eyes, teeth, hands, and feet. Oh, what a wealthy person. But people don't stress on that. It's like there's a famous saying, I used to be sad that I had no shoes until I met a person that had no feet. And this is what I believe we're teaching our children when we sing Dayenu. We want it to sear into their head. You know, at the Seder is a time where we etch memories. Our earliest memories is a Seder by Ababi Azadi. It makes memory. We want them to hear this reverberating in their head. Die, Dayenu, die, and it's enough. We're happy with what we have. This I decided to make this the theme of for the Shabbos table, because we can talk about it this Shabbos. Teach them that happiness is when you learn to be happy with what you have. Don't say, on winter break, why couldn't we go to Florida? Or why couldn't we go to Puerto Rico? Or why can't we get a Segway for our Afikomen? Or why can't we go to a sleepaway camp? Or whatever it is. But learn to be happy with the so many things that you do have. You know, just 60 years ago, 70 years ago, children were living in fear of going to concentration camps. We're living with such freedoms. Dayenu, Dayenu, Dayenu. I want to thank again the Rubin family. And when you watch this, we still don't have a sponsor for next week, Isru Chag, the Chumash year for next week, 718-916-3100, rmmwsi@aol.com. As I broadcast here from Greenwald Caterers in Somerset, New Jersey, a beautiful program. I want to wish everybody that it should be a marvelous Shabbos. Daf Yomi will be at 10 p.m. on Motzi Shabbos, where we learn Tublat and start Ezel Neshech. Thank you for joining us, and have a wonderful Shabbos and Moed.